Hello everyone, this is Brian. Welcome back to Hi-Fi Home Theater. If you love home theater but have a strong preference towards music listening, then you are in the right place. So hit the subscribe button and welcome aboard. Today we are looking at the Denon AVR-X3800H. And I'm just going to talk through the specs here and put them up on the screen for you to look through yourself and pause the screen if you need to. But really, the gist of it, and this AVR's claim to fame, is that it has 11 channels of processing and 4 independent subwoofer outputs. In fact, you can even, if you're only using 3 of those subwoofer outputs, you can use the 4th one as a dedicated bass shaker output, so that it's not, you can adjust the level accordingly, and it's not affected by the room EQ. So it's just a nice, unadulterated LFE output for your bass shakers, which is really nice. It's got a separate low pass filter setting and a level setting too. This thing handles all the surround formats: Dolby Atmos, DTX, even Auro 3D, IMAX Enhanced, handles 8K, Dolby Vision of course, HDR, 4K 120, 8K by 60 frames per second, variable refresh rate. I mean, there's nothing that I would need personally that I can think of that this box can't do. Along with all that, you've got, already have Odyssey XT32 and a path to DRAC Live. So on paper, this seems like an amazing value at $1,700. Now the question is, how does it sound? Well, spoiler alert, it sounds great. I went from a 6700, a Denon X3700, to the 3800H. As soon as I saw that it had 4 independent subwoofer outputs, I was in. I wanted it. I didn't want to add a mini DSP and fool around with any kind of external device. So the idea of being able to plug 4 independent subwoofers in there and let either Odyssey or DRAC in the future calibrate them for me was perfect for me. So I jumped on that. Sold the 6700 and I ordered the 3800. My biggest concern though going into this was, did I make a mistake and sacrifice audio quality to have these features? Would the 3800 sound as good as my 6700, which I thought sounds great. So as I've already said, like I said, spoiler, it does sound great. It sounds at least as good as the 6700. I didn't have them together to A and B side by side, but from my memory, I mean, they both sound great. The 3800 sounds just as good as the 6700 did. My plan was to originally not hook up my external amplifiers, to just have the 3800 run all my bed layer speakers. My setup consists of, up front, I've got a Rendell 1723 Tower S speakers. I have their 1723S center channel, and then my bed layer surrounds are 4 of the 1723S surround speakers. And then up top, I've got 4 Revel, I think they're M55XC speakers. So that's my setup. How I hooked it up, the 3800, was I had just the 3800 running all the speakers except the rear Atmos channels. I hooked that up to my amp. For EQ, I used the same thing I was using on my 6700, and that's the new Odyssey, the Multi-EQ X software, which I really like, but that's maybe I'll make another video on that. I did this, I knew that I liked that software, so I ran my setup with that. I did the same house curve that I did on the 6700, and then I just started listening for the weekend. I just put in my usual demos. I started out with the Batman with the Batmobile scene where he's chasing the penguin in the I think it's a Maserati. It has great audio. I love that as a demo. The V8 rumbling, the Maserati panning from left to right through the center channel. Everything sounded really great. Then I went on to Ready Player One with the race scene. I did Aquaman. I did several other movie scenes. And then because I'm heavy into music, I went into my Blu-ray collection. Everything from Metallica, Dave Matthews, Alice in Chains, to Diana Krall, to Eric Clapton. Sounded great, especially crossed over at 80 hertz. I forgot to mention that. I had the speakers all sealed and everything crossed over at 80 hertz. Everything was super detailed, had plenty of punch. Even at pretty high volume, I was listening maybe -15, -10, and everything had plenty of punch. Plenty of punch, no straining, no distortion at all. I was actually surprised. I had never really actually did that with my 6700. I always just knew I was going to use external amplification. So honestly, I never let the 6700 run all the speakers. So I don't know if it sounded, if it could sound better than that. So I don't have that information, but I wasn't expecting the 3800 to sound as good as it does running all these speakers. So I think that says a lot. That you can buy this AVR, and I would honestly, my opinion, if you haven't bought an external amplifier yet, wait, hook this up, just see how it sounds, see how you like it. These Arendals are not they're an easy speaker to drive, but they really need a good amount of power to wake them up. And the 3800 did that. I was actually shocked. Going from surround sound to 2-channel, I did run these full range in direct mode for a while, and the 3800 did a really good job. Not as good as an external amp running in full range in 2-channel, but with 80 hertz crossover and sealed like it was, it was very hard to tell the difference between the 3800 powering my fronts and it hooked up to my Monolith Encore external amplifier. Now going into this, my plan was, like I said, just let the AVR run all the bed layer channels, just see how well it does. I kind of expected it to start sounding strained, and that's what I was expecting. So I was expecting just to experience that so I give my feedback, and then I'll hook up my external amplifiers and everything will be great. But like I said, I was shocked at how good it sounded without the external amplification. So at that point I was like, man, is this going to be an improvement going to that external amp? So going in, I hooked everything up to my Monolith 8125X. It's their newer one with the Encore, using the 252 modules in it. So that was running all my bed layer channels, did the same thing, ran Odyssey X through again, set the same curves. And again, sealed, crossed at 80 hertz. It was very close. The external amplifiers had a little bit more punch and could get a little bit louder and still maintain full dynamics, which is what you expect from an amplifier. But what I didn't get was any change in coloration from one amplifier to another. That's one thing I want to hit on, is the amplifier, the amps in the Denon are really, really good. There is no warmth, no coloration sound at all. So there's no Marantz sound here. So if that's kind of what you're looking for, if you're looking for like a warm sound, you won't find it here in the Denon. It sounds crystal clear, very extremely neutral sound to the Denon. And so going back to what the setup I had with the 6700, just with the 3800 in its place, plugged into my Monolith amplifier, I had the same great experience I had with the 6700, but now I was able to have 4 independent subwoofer pre-out. So sound-wise with the Denon, like I said, try it by itself before you throw in an external amplifier into it. So I think this is one of the great things about this AVR, is that you can buy it on its own without any amplifiers, and it can grow with you. It's got all the bells and whistles and pre-outs that you need for years to come. So you can buy this, run it with the internal amplifiers, add external amplification as you need it. And you can buy the Multi-Q app to start with if you want something a little bit more than what just the receiver does. You can go with Multi-Q X if you want to try that out. And in the future, you'll be able to buy D-Rack, and hopefully D-Rack Live with a bass control even further down the road. But you don't have to do any of the upgrades right away, and you're still going to have a great experience. I think that's the best thing about this AVR is its versatility. It's a great AVR on its own, and it has all these different options. It basically has every option under the sun. And then as you outgrow its internal amps, it makes a great external processor because it can disconnect itself from all of its amplifiers internally and put out a great preamp signal here. I can't think of anything that comes close in price that has all the features and performance of this. Especially, you know, I haven't tried all of them, but I have tried the NAD T778. That's the one I think would come the closest to the features that this has, besides the touchscreen on the front. But the Denon bests it with 4 independent subwoofer outs and more options for assigning the amplifier channels. And to me, I never had them in the same room, but I would, sound quality wise, I would put them neck and neck, honestly. Oh, cons. I had a couple issues with the firmware, the initial firmware, which I shared with you guys. I also had a problem with Odyssey, trying to use it just through the AVR, not using the app or Multi-Q X. Odyssey, even if I had it set correctly in the settings that I had 2 subwoofers, Odyssey would only see one of them. And I even did a factory reset and I just couldn't get that to work. So hopefully that gets fixed in the firmware update. And another thing is, I wish it were Roon ready and not Roon tested. But that's just me. I'm a Roon user. I've got a video on that if you want to check that out and see why I like that so much. So that would, to me, if this were Roon ready, that would make this 3800 perfect for me. So yeah, other than those nitpicks, I can't find any fault with this thing, guys. I mean, they really hit a home run with this 3800, and I'm expecting the models up from here. This is a challenge thrown down to every other manufacturer in the business that they're going to need to step up their game. Can't see anything this thing doesn't do for you for $1,800. If you're looking for 11 channels and you don't need wides, because that's something it doesn't do. It doesn't do wides. I can't think of a better option. I'm going to leave Amazon affiliate links for the products discussed in this video below. If you're interested in any of them, please check them out and use my link. And even if you're not interested in purchasing the products discussed in this video, if you use my links below to do your Amazon shopping, a small percentage of your purchase goes towards the channel and it doesn't cost you anything extra. And that is greatly appreciated. Thank you. So as usual, I want to thank you all for stopping by and watching. If you enjoyed this content and you want to see more of it, you also want to see more home theater, but also, like I said, I have a heavy swing towards the music side. I enjoy 2-channel listening, so I'll have more 2-channel content, vinyl, concert Blu-rays. If that kind of thing interests you, please hit the subscribe button. And thanks again for stopping by, and I'll see you later.